Welcome back to the Library of Awakening. Today, we begin Man, Visible and Invisible by Charles W. Leadbeater, a profound exploration into the hidden layers of human existence that lie beyond the physical body. This book reveals that what we see with our physical eyes is only a small portion of what we truly are. Beyond the visible form exists a subtle body of energy, consciousness, and light, a spiritual structure that reflects our thoughts, emotions, and level of awareness. Leadbeater takes us into the unseen dimensions of the human being, showing that every thought creates form, every emotion radiates energy, and every soul carries a visible signature in the invisible worlds. This is not just a book about the body. This is a book about the true nature of the self. If you enjoy these reads, do us a favor, make sure to smash that thumbs up button. And if you are not subscribed already, consider doing so, as it does help this platform grow organically. We do appreciate the love and support. With that being said, let's begin. Chapter I. How these things are known. Man is a curiously complex being, and his evolution, past, present, and future, is a study of perennial interest for all who can see and understand. Through what toilsome eternities of gradual development he has come to be what he is, to what round in the long ladder of his progress he has now attained, what possibilities of further progress the veil of the future conceals from us. These are questions to which few can be indifferent, questions which have been occurring all through the ages to everyone who has thought at all. In the Western world, the answers given have been many and various. There has been much dogmatic assertion based on differing interpretations of alleged revelation. There have been many ingenious speculations, the fruit, in some cases, of close metaphysical reasoning. But dogmatism meets us with a story which is on the face of it manifestly impossible, while speculation moves chiefly along entirely materialistic lines and endeavors to arrive at a satisfactory result by ignoring half of the phenomena for which we have to account. Neither dogmatism nor speculation approaches the problem from a practical point of view as a matter which can be studied and investigated like any other science. Theosophy comes forward with a theory based upon entirely different foundations, while in no way depreciating the knowledge to be gained either by study of the ancient scriptures or by philosophical reasoning. It nevertheless regards the constitution and the evolution of man as matters not of speculation, but of simple investigation. When so examined, they prove to be parts of a magnificent scheme, coherent and readily comprehensible, a scheme which, while it agrees with and explains much of the old religious teaching, is yet in no way dependent on it, since it can be verified at every step by the use of the inner faculties which, though as yet latent in the majority of mankind, have already been brought into working order by a lever number among our students. For the past history of man, this theory depends not only upon the concurrent testimony of the tradition of the Sinus, earlier religions, but upon the examination of a definite a record which can be seen and consulted by anyone who possesses the degree of clairvoyance requisite to appreciate the vibrations of the finely subdivided matter upon which it is impressed. For its knowledge as to the future which awaits humanity, it depends, first, upon logical deduction from the character of the progress already made, second, on direct information supplied by men who have already reached those conditions which for most of us still constitute a more or less remote future, and third, on the comparison which anyone who has the privilege of seeing them may make between highly evolved men at various levels. We can imagine that a child who did not otherwise know the course of nature might reason that he would presently grow up and become a man merely from the fact that he had already grown to a certain extent and in a certain way, and that he saw around him other children and young people at every stage of growth between his own and the adult level. The study of the condition of man at the present time, of the immediate methods for his evolution, and of the effect upon that evolution of his thoughts, his emotions, his actions. All this is regarded by theosophical students as a matter of the application of well-known laws as a broad, general principle, and then of careful observation, of painstaking comparison of many cases in order to comprehend the detailed working of these laws. It is, in fact, simply a question of sight, and this book is published in the hope, first, that it may help earnest students who do not yet possess this sight to realize how the soul and its vehicles appear when examined by its means, and second, that the persons who are now beginning to exercise this vision more or less perfectly may by it be helped to understand the meaning of what they see. I am perfectly aware that the world at large is not yet convinced of the existence of this power of clairvoyant sight, but I also know that all who have really studied the question have found the evidence for it irresistible. If any intelligent person will read the authenticated stories quoted in my book Clairvoyance, and will then turn from them to the books from which they were selected, he will see at once that there is an overwhelming mass of evidence in favor of the existence of his faculty. To those who themselves can see and are daily in the habit of exercising this higher vision in 100 different ways, the denial of the majority that such sight is possible naturally seems ridiculous. For the clairvoyant, the question is not worth arguing. If a blind man came up to us and assured us that there was no such thing as ordinary physical sight, and that we were deluded in supposing that we possessed this faculty, we, in our turn, should probably not feel it worthwhile to argue at great length in defense of our supposed delusion. We should simply say, I certainly do see, and it is useless to try to persuade me that I do not. All the daily experiences of my life show me that I do. I decline to be argued out of my definite knowledge of positive facts. Now this is precisely how the trained clairvoyant feels when ignorant people serenely pronounce that it is quite impossible that he should possess a power, which he is at that very moment using to read the thoughts of those who deny it to him. I am not attempting, therefore, in this book to prove that clairvoyance is a reality. I take that for granted, and proceed to describe what is seen by its means. Neither will I here repeat the details given in the little book which I have mentioned as to the methods of clairvoyance, but will confine myself to such brief statement of the broad principles of the subject as is absolutely necessary in order that this book shall be comprehensible to one who has not studied other theosophical literature. Chapter 2. The Planes of Nature. The first point which must be clearly comprehended is the wonderful complexity of the world around us. The fact that it includes enormously more than comes within the range of ordinary vision. We are all aware that matter exists in different conditions, and that it may be made to change its conditions by variation of pressure and temperature. We have the three well-known states of matter, the solid, the liquid, and the gaseous, and it is the theory of science that all substances can, under proper variation of temperature and pressure, exist in all these conditions. Occult chemistry shows us another and higher condition than the gaseous, into which also all substances known to us can be translated or transmuted, and to that condition we have given the name of etheric. We may have, for example, hydrogen in an etheric condition instead of as a gas. We may have gold or silver or any other element either as a solid, a liquid, or a gas, or in this other higher state which we call etheric. In ordinary science, we speak of an atom of oxygen, an atom of hydrogen, an atom of any of the substances which chemists call elements, the theory being that that is an element which cannot be further reduced, and that each of these elements has its atom and an atom, as we may see. From the Greek derivation of the word, means that which cannot be cut or further subdivided. Occult science has always taught that all these so-called elements are not in the true sense of the word elements at all, that what we call an atom of oxygen or hydrogen can under certain circumstances be broken up. By repeating this breaking up process, it is found that there is one substance at the back of all substances, and different combinations of its ultimate units give us what in chemistry are called atoms of oxygen or hydrogen, gold or silver, lithium or platinum, etc. When these are all broken up, we get back to a set of units which are all identical, except that some of them are positive and some negative. The study of these units and of the possibilities of their combination is in itself one of most enthralling interest. Even these, however, are found to be units only from the point of view of our physical plane. That is to say, there are methods by which even they can be subdivided. But when they are so broken up, they give us matter belonging to a different realm of nature. Yet this higher matter also is not simple but complex, and we find that it also exists in a series of states of its own, corresponding very fairly to the states of physical matter, which we call solid, liquid, gaseous, or etheric. Again, by carrying on our process of subdivision far enough, we reach another unit, the unit of that realm of nature to which occultists have given the name of the astral world. Then the whole process may be repeated, for by further subdivision of that astral unit, we find ourselves dealing with another still higher and more refined world, though a world which is still material. Once again, we find matter existing in definitely marked conditions, corresponding at that much higher level to the states with which we are familiar. And the result of our investigations brings us once again to a unit, the unit of this third great realm of nature, which in theosophy we call the mental world. So far as we know, there is no limit to this possibility of subdivision, but there is a very distinct limit to our capability of observing it. However, we can see enough to be certain of the existence of a considerable number of these different realms, each of which is in one sense a world in itself, though in another and wider sense all are parts of one stupendous whole. In our literature, these different realms of nature are frequently spoken of as planes, because in our study it is sometimes convenient to image them as one above another, according to the different degrees of density of the matter of which they are composed. It will be seen that in the accompanying diagram they are drawn in this way, but it must be very carefully borne in mind that this arrangement is merely adopted for convenience and as a symbol, and that it in no way represents the actual relations of these various planes. They must not be imagined as lying above one another like the shelves of a bookcase, but rather as filling the same space and interpenetrating one another. It is a fact well known to science that even in the hardest substances, no two atoms ever touch one another. Always each atom has its field of action and vibration, and every molecule in turn has its larger field, so that there is always space between them. Under any possible circumstances, every physical atom is floating in an astral sea, a sea of astral matter, which surrounds it and fills every interstice in this physical matter. The mental matter, in its turn, interpenetrates the astral in precisely the same manner, so that all these different realms of nature are not in any way separated in space, but are all existing around us and about us here and now, so that to see them and to investigate them, it is not necessary for us to make any movement in space, but only to open within ourselves the senses by means of which they can be perceived. You've just experienced the opening of man visible and invisible. This chapter reminds us that the physical body is only the outer garment of something far greater, a spiritual being evolving through experience, shaped by thought, intention, and awareness. The more conscious we become, the more refined and powerful this invisible aspect of ourselves becomes. This is the path of awakening, If you're enjoying these readings, do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button, as it helps us grow the Library of Awakening organically. And if you're not already subscribed, consider joining us. We truly appreciate your presence and your support on this journey into hidden knowledge. Until next time, continue seeking, continue awakening.
Welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening. I know some of the perspectives that I share may be as challenging for you as they once were for me. But isn't that the beauty of exploration? Every perspective, no matter how unconventional, has something valuable to contribute to it if it's shared. Knowledge is not absolute. It's a living, breathing phenomena, shaped and reshaped over time. The important thing is not always be right, but to always be curious. Explore freely, share boldly, and learn deeply. And don't rely solely on others to validate your discoveries. Stand firm in integrity, even in the face of criticism. Remember that growth always means embracing the humility to admit when we're wrong. Learning from our errors is not a setback, it's the very essence of our progress. So, welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening.